Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday night right here at the Sports Krib, home of the Sports Krib Network. Uh, hopefully, let's see, Dave, let me know if you have any. Well, you're not in yet, but I see Dave is down there, and so is Reggie, and I'll pull them in. Hopefully, anyone that's over in the comments, let us know if we have any feedback like we did last week. But let me pull the guys up in here. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay.
All right, how's everything up there in your neck of the woods?
Well, it was a little cool day today, but overall not too bad.
How you doing down there in Atlanta, Reggie?
Doing very good. I brought my guy Jim Brown with me back here. He's back here. I told him that he's going to make an appearance at our next show, and I think I'll just have him appear on every show I ever do. I think I'm just going to leave him back here forever.
All
But
Nice.
he
right,
is here with me, and now I am ready to go. I feel like I'm ready more than ever now.
all right. Hey, things are going down. So I guess tonight, while we're still audible, let's make sure we get our Sue's corner fix in for me and Reggie. Do we have one tonight, Dave?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Sue was watching the Masters all weekend, and my
Oh,
one son
nice.
Nick came over to watch the final. So this is what Sue has. There have been a million stories written by now on one of the greatest televised sports afternoons, which was the Masters on Sunday. Rory McIlroy finally got the gorilla off his back and won the Grand Slam. My favorite side story is the one about his caddy, Harry Diamond. They grew up on the same public golf course in Northern Ireland to just regular parents and have been friends since they were 7 years old. A good golfer in his own right, he became Rory's caddy in 2017. If you follow golf at all, Rory is known for his meltdowns, his temper, his choking in the big moments. As a matter of fact, I mistakenly didn't take him in my golf pool last week because I thought he would probably choke again, even though he was having a great start of the year. Weirdly, the person blamed for a lot of his problems was Harry, the caddy. Caddies
Hmm.
scout the course, suggest clubs, consult on approaches. They serve in different capacities for each player. What Harry does for Rory isn't just that, but he is someone that can try to calm him down, joke something off, and most importantly, he is someone Rory trusts. They were each other's best men at their weddings. Pundits who actually have no idea what it is like to be under that kind of pressure are quick to be nasty about Harry, saying he should have talked Rory out of using such and such a club. Really? You think anyone can talk Rory McIlroy, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods out of a club that they themselves believe is the best? Malarkey, as they say in Ireland. Rory has stayed as true to Harry as Harry has been to him, defending him in the worst of times, and in a place in time when seemingly everyone wants to pin the blame on someone else. Rory refused to take the bait and shift focus on Harry. Instead, he took it on to himself to do some work with a sports psychologist and stayed loyal to his good friend and caddy. That is an important life lesson, just as important as his backswing in the big scheme of life. And that's Sue's Corner. And just as a side note, both my wife and my son Nick, they entered this golf pool. It's one of some former coworkers of Sue's. They have a big golf pool, and Nick actually tied for first. They had a three-way tie for
Nice.
first, so
Nice.
he got some of the prize money last week. But yeah, I mean, golf is it's an amazing game, and you know, for the players, Sue and I were talking about it today. It's like they rely so much on their routine, and they do rely. You know, caddies can have a big impact on a golfer's performance, but it's usually in the positive way, because at the end of the day, it's the golfer that makes the final decision on what club he's going to use, and it's his swing after all. So I thought it was an interesting Sue's Corner.
Very nice. I should have brought out my, we do events down at the Masters every year. And I should, next time now, Dave, I might bring out my Masters polo that I do. I do have a Masters Augusta polo that I might have to bring out for my show so I can throw it on and give expert takes. You know what I mean? I haven't even taken the tag off that thing, man. I had somebody who went to the pro shop and got it for me. That thing's sitting upstairs with the tag on it still to this day.
Now you got to put it to use. Yeah. And by the way, the U.S. Open, I think, is going to be up in Oakmont in a couple of weeks, outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Dave, we know the draft is going to also be in Pittsburgh next year, right? Have you seen where most of the venues going to be at the stadium or over across the river or what?
Well, they haven't published the specifics yet, but they've talked about the stadium, which could be dicey, with the weather. But they did do an outdoor draft in Cleveland, I think. So, it might be at the stadium, and it might, they will probably have a few events scattered around and maybe make use of the point as well. But right now, they have not published the dates and the specific venues yet.
Yeah, the music events are usually held down at the point, at least the smaller ones. So it should be. It's chilly in Pittsburgh today. It's not snowing, but it's chilly. It's not Buffalo weather, so it's possible. It's possible the draft is tomorrow, right? Draft starts tomorrow.
No. This year's draft is next week.
Yeah, I think it's
like next Thursday, and it's 43 degrees in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah.
Which if you're outside, you'll feel. But they're playing baseball there, so definitely doable. I'm driving up to Pittsburgh for the draft next week.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Okay. So I guess we might as well start with some of the how shall we call them? So, some of the more nuttier events of the NBA. So you got to tell me, what is this Trae Young ejection about?
I'm going to be 100% honest here and jump out there and say I did not see the ejection. I just read about it because, when we're a play-in team, let me tell you what the play-in reality is here, guys. When you're in the NBA and you're a play-in team, I'm not sure where you're pulling hope from. I mean, you're usually coming from like the 9th or 10th seed. Do you really think, and this is not to crap on fan bases across the country here, but do you really think that your 9th or 10th seed team is going to come in here and upset number 1, 2, or 3? Do you think your dead team's going to come in here and knock off Boston all of a sudden? It's probably not going to happen. I mean, it's nice to watch it. I mean, and maybe it buys you and the fans another week before you get eliminated, maybe another round before you get eliminated in the first or second round, whatever you do get eliminated. But when you're looking at the Orlando and you're looking at the Hawks, my home team here, it's hard pressed to believe that any of them would be even cracking into that top 3 teams in the East, no matter what happened. James, whether he played the whole game or not.
I sent Don a link. He says, for some reason, I send your link and Dave, I send your link and Don's link together, but somehow you get the link and Don doesn't.
Only one made it on. It was Dave.
Oh, well, it came early.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
mine came like yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
let me see.
should I just
Well,
rant about Trey Young here, like or lack of Trey
James
Young?
is there. Reggie, do you think? I mean, because I don't really follow the NBA. Do you think that they've expanded the playoffs too much in the NBA, or?
I don't necessarily think so because I do think that when you do the play-in situation, David does give those extra fan bases at least another shot at it. Like, one final shot if you can. I don't think that's necessarily negative. But Dave, at the same time, I don't think that it changes fortunes in the NBA. You know what I mean? I don't think you adding those teams and adding that play-in game at the bottom where those bottom teams, I don't see it as the same as a Cinderella situation would be with March Madness because these teams play one time when they're playing each other. If you're a team that's coming in a play-in game, you got to beat these better teams 4 times in a series. So it's to the point where I get why they might do it from an economic standpoint, and maybe it does help give the reason for some fan bases that might be in some bad market teams reason to keep watching. But I don't think it changed. I don't think anybody's looking at any of these teams, Dave, and thinking they have a legit shot at winning a championship.
Right. Yeah, I guess like in the NFL, it's one game, so
correct. So
you could
anything
be a
can
6
happen.
seed
You
and
can be
you got
better
a
in 4
shot.
quarters.
Right.
Correct.
Well, let me ask you one more question. What do you think about the KD situation? Has KD become? I
Strange,
don't want to
man.
say I don't want to say a cancer, but I mean, since he's left Golden State trying to, be the number one guy,
Yeah.
it hasn't been too successful. Now they're saying that, the Suns will have him up for trade during the off season. What do you think, Reg?
I don't necessarily know if you can lay this at KD's feet. And when you look at the Suns situation, the Bradley Beal trade is terrible for them. And that's kind of like, if you could take back one thing, if you take back the Bradley Beal trade or take back the KD trade, which one would you take back? They probably take back the Bradley Beal trade. I think that's what's going to ultimately be hurting them. The thing is about KD, and the problem with any team that gets KD, and this is something that KD himself said, is one of the reasons why he didn't want to go back to the Warriors. A lot of people thought it was because of his relationship with Draymond, but he went on Draymond's podcast to dispel that and said it was not the case. The problem is when you trade for a player like KD, like he said, you got to trade half your team for him. You got to trade all your depth away to get him there. So the way that he's looking at it is, I don't want you to trade all the guys that you have for me to come to your team in the middle of the season, in the middle of the end of the season to try to put something together for the last like 15, 20 games. It doesn't make sense. And it's going to be the problem with the NBA when you're trading players, unless you're the Dallas Mavericks, of course, who gave Luka away. You don't really get a lot of that. But typically when you're trading for these kinds of players, you got to trade half your team away to get the guy. So I feel like that's the problem with trading KD to anywhere. They got to have an incredible amount of depth wherever you trade him to. They got to be able to maintain, hold on to those superstars wherever you trade him to. You got to manage the money. He doesn't make a small amount of money. Got to manage the money wherever you trade him to. So it's just a whole business in of itself, just moving players like that anywhere. And I feel like they kind of get the blame. I don't know if he's ring chasing. I feel like they're all ring chasing, but it's a combination between money chasing and ring chasing. I feel like they all do that.
If he was ring chasing, I think he would have went back to Golden State. But it may not have been the beef between him and Draymond, but he'd always be number 2 to Steph Curry.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that I don't know that he necessarily even has a problem with that, more so than where would they be going? You're not going to be looking at the same Warriors team if you trade for him. Like the Warriors team that you're looking at now wouldn't be the Warriors team if you had traded for KD. A lot of those guys would have been out of there.
Well, most of them are, so, we'll see. It was a good, Jimmy Butler did end up being a great addition.
Yeah.
That was who I thought there would be friction between, but it seems
He's working
like
out. He's working out.
Yeah, seems like it's working out fine. Let's see. Little NCAA stuff. I only got a couple questions here. And I'm going to start with you here, Dave, because you might have heard some other rumors going around here. But right now, Shador is not among the 17 players invited to the draft party.
That's interesting. It's very
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, what do you think, Dave? Do you think Shador will fall further than number 18?
Well, one I'm kind of surprised he didn't get an invite. I would have thought that would have been a great marketing thing because
Yeah, me too.
especially if his dad is there with him. That surprises me. But I guess the question I have is like Cam Ward is actually going to be probably the first quarterback taken. And then after that, you got guys like Jackson Dart, Ewers, and stuff like that. I mean, are they really ahead of Shador Sanders?
Wow.
And then you look at the teams that are drafting, and now a lot of teams like Cleveland has kind of indicated they're not looking for a quarterback. That they may go after Hunter or Carr from Penn State.
Yeah.
But then you have the Giants, who just had Sanders in for a visit this week, and you have the Saints. Well, those are two teams right there that obviously would be looking for a quarterback. And if you say that Tennessee is taking Ward with the first overall pick, well, here's already two teams near the top of the draft that may also be looking for quarterbacks. And so, if not Sanders, then who? Jackson Dart or Ewers? Milrow? I don't know. And then you also have further down the 49ers may be in a market for a quarterback. I don't think so. I think that they're going to wait a season because I think that they still think that they got a shot to make a playoff push. But then
have they extended Purdy yet? I don't think they've given Purdy his money
That
yet.
seemed like it was full steam ahead at one point, and it's definitely hit the brakes. It's definitely slowed down.
Yeah. Well, but it's still an option for them. So I mean, to me, if San Francisco is picking a quarterback in the first round, then that indicates to me that maybe they're not thinking that they have a shot at going far into the playoffs. That now they're going to start rebuilding.
Wow.
But then you have Indiana a few slots after that. So you might have a couple quarterbacks picked in the first round. I don't know if it's going to be like 2022 when Kenny Pickett was the only quarterback picked in the first round. I'll be surprised if that happens.
Well,
so you got Cam Ward as one, and then you got like at least two, possibly three or four teams looking for quarterback help in the first round.
Well, Reggie, a lot of mock drafts have Shador falling to the Saints at number 9.
9, yeah, I've been seeing that. That's picked up steam. It's picked up steam the last week or so. Mel Kiper had that at his last mock. He mocked Shador going at 9.
But even so, if he was going at number 9, I mean, why do you think he wasn't invited? I mean,
I think this is strange to me. It's strange, guys. It's strange to me that. Okay, Cam, okay, Abdul Carter, all right, Travis Hunter, okay. These first few guys, all right. There's a few guys you can get through there, okay. But can I get to 17 guys though without saying Shador's name? Can I get to 17? Like, it seems strange that he would not be included in, because that's over 50% of the draft, guys. That's like half the draft is invited, and he's not. How is that possible? If you had gone into the year and even said that statement last year, guys, let's say that what Colorado's doing their thing, you make that statement, he's not even gonna be invited. You feel like that's crazy talk. That's wild. Half the league gets invited. There's no way. But here we are, we're him not being invited, and I don't understand it. Even guys, even if the entertainment value gets him over the last hump, right? Even if the entertainment value breaks the tie with the 16th guy or the 15th guy, or you're right there at the end and you got to leave a guy off, can we get the entertainment factor of Dion just getting him over the line to at least be that last guy? You know what I mean? At like 16, 17, that last person you can bring on. Hard pressed for me to believe that this many people are more important than he is. being at the draft, it's just they're kind of, are they sending you a message here, or are they trying to humble you before you even come in? I don't even know what the story is, because I don't think this many teams are going to pass on him. I'd be hard pressed that we get to the 15 and a team hasn't at least traded up. I can see if you're looking at a draft and saying that if he falls, another team doesn't need him, but you can't necessarily account for teams trading up and just feeling like they would just leave him sitting there for half the draft is strange.
Yeah. Now, I know that there's a number of Steeler fans that, because they've talked about, well, what happens if he falls at 21? Should the Steelers pick him? And then a lot of Steeler fans, oh no, they don't like his attitude. They don't like this. And the only thing I can think of, my comparable situation, I'm not comparing the players, but the situation, I look at Lamar Jackson.
Man,
and 31 teams basically said he's not first round material. He's not franchise quarterback material. One team bet on him. And man, Baltimore came up golden on that. And so, like with Shedeur, I mean, are there 31 teams and 20 teams, if we're looking further down the draft, 2 or 3 that have quarterback needs? Do they really feel that he's not a potential first round talent?
They better be right, Dave. If that's the case. And for me, if he was to drop to 21, why would I, as a Steelers fan, I wouldn't mind taking him at all. Like, I don't see drafting a Shedeur Sanders at 21 is incredible value, in my opinion, from where he is projected to go. So I wouldn't see that as being a terrible decision. But I just don't think he's going to be there. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors here in the NFL. Like, this is ridiculous to think that he'll be there 20 picks late into the draft with the quarterback needs. And also with the amount of GMs, you guys better have job security when you're passing on quarterbacks. In the NFL, you better have job security, because if you're going to pass on quarterbacks and you get a tackle or somebody out, that tackle could be great, but you better hope that quarterback isn't even good. He can't even be decent.
For the teams that are in need of a quarterback. And you do have teams in need of a quarterback.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like you said, he's been to the Giants, he's been to the Steelers. So, I mean, hey.
The Browns, interesting situation for me. The Giants, they got Russell Wilson, right? And I think maybe they're hoping they could squeeze a couple years out of him. I'm not sure if the Giants are going down that road, but what do the Browns have? Like, if I feel like Deshaun Watson had got his injury into the year, it's going to take him a full calendar year.
They have Joe Flacco now,
and they got Kenny Pickett.
Goodness gracious, man! Are they just giving up over there? I mean, I'm happy they're division them. They just give up for all I just go ahead and give it all up.
But we'll talk about it later. But I saw no problem with them, picking up Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco would have been just as much of a mentor to.
He would have been better than Deshaun Watson last year. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think he would have been a better mentor than Mason Rudolph. But I mean, I know having a rat bird in Steelers camp would kind of be sacrilegious, but.
It's interesting, Flacco and Pickett, because you got two former Pitt quarterbacks, because Flacco was at Pitt before he went to Delaware.
Interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Reggie, what do you think? Travis Hunter has said that if he can't play 2 ways, he would think about quitting football. Do you think that maybe that has been kind of a cautionary thing to the teams that are possibly had him in their sights before, trying to play both sides in professional football is not the same as trying to play it for the University of Colorado. But what do you think?
I think that this is a crazy thing to say, because at the end of the day, you know what I like about the NFL, man? What I really like about the NFL is we don't care if you play or not. Just don't care if you play. You can come here and play, and we would love you. But you cannot play, and we're going to still root for the same teams. Everything's going to still be exactly the same way as it was. They're going to make billions of dollars. It'll be the most watched product on television. So when people come in, like, I'm just going to withdraw my services if XYZ doesn't happen. The NFL is going to continue to NFL without you, bro. That's exactly what's going to happen. And what fans have shown you is that no boycott. You can have, no matter the boycotts that you feel that you can launch against the NFL, fans just care more about the NFL than you most of the time. They're just still going to go to their games. They're still going to root for their teams. So when you saying stuff like this, I get that you want to play both sides of the ball. And I think that you can make an argument for him spelling it. For one, playing both sides of the ball in NFL. No. You're not playing both sides of the ball. You can play on both sides of the ball. Like maybe you spell at some point, like maybe you play corner and you spell wide receiver. Okay, you can see a world where that happens. And
nickel
you can see a
package
world where he plays. Yeah, correct. The package is where you call the guy in. You can see worlds where this happen. But why would I give this guy nearly the amount of snaps he got at Colorado? That's a college thing. That's not happening in the NFL. You're not playing that many snaps in the NFL, and you're not going to be upright very long. Could you imagine that you barely surviving one side of the balls coming off the field? You got to try to survive two. No, it's not wise. I get why he would say it. He's young, and I get why you'd say something like this. But if any player decides to just withdraw their services from the NFL would keep going on without you.
Dave, what do you think? I mean, after all, he's not even the number one wide receiver.
Well, but he's more than likely a top 5 pick, right?
Yes. For sure. Maybe top 3, Dave.
2024. I think Joe Alt was the number 5 pick. So he was guaranteed $32 to $33 million with the signing bonus of 20 to 21 million with the 50-year option. And that money's fully guaranteed on their rookie contract. So you're going to walk away from, and it's going to be more this year. So you're going to just walk away from 34 million because you want to play both ways. I don't think so. I think that this is more bluster. It gets his name out there. He wants to play. So he's getting ink on this, but realistically, he's going to play, and teams are not going to play him both ways.
No, they're not.
The defenses and the offenses are too complicated. Now he may get packages on offense. I think he'll be playing in the backfield or as a defensive back, and he may get packages on offense, but he's not going to be playing 50 100 snaps a game.
Right. It's insanity. Like to even think about. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, it sounds like bluster, but when they put that paper in front of you and you see that 34, 35 mil, such and such guarantee, I think reality sets in.
Yeah,
I think NIL has bolstered that a little bit.
Stock drop either, because his agent also will be talking to and probably has talked to teams. So,
and I'm sure Deion's talked to team.
Yeah.
Come on, Deion hasn't been. He's not one to be quiet to ask his opinion about anything. So. At least
still a top pick for sure, right, guys? Still a top pick. If he is, I don't see it now.
Before you leave NCAA, though, I wanted to bring something up. I don't know if you read about it, but I heard that they were retiring their numbers at Colorado. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
Shador and Travis, but both their numbers. Interesting. That would be interesting. Yeah. I would need to see do they have other numbers retired? I would need to see what the criteria. They played there about 2 years.
The question I asked was whether Whizzer White's number was retired, because he played for Colorado way back in the 1930s. He became a first-team All-Pro as a rookie with Pittsburgh, and then went into World War II. He became a Supreme Court justice.
Oh, wow.
And his number 24, was retired at Colorado. At least it was supposed to be. I'd like to look at the numbers to make sure that they didn't sneak it in. But 24 is supposed to be retired from Colorado, and that was Wizard White's.
Okay, I guess that'll be interesting to see. And to see what impact that will have on other teams that have 1 year, well, 2 year
Yeah, I was
guy.
gonna say it's 2 years, and it's not like they won a championship. Like why? I don't understand. I think you're kind of, if you're going to, I get like the excitement. Like, go ahead and build that statue for Dion out front for sure. The way he's putting butts in the seats since he's been there, but from a player standpoint, I do think it kind of cheapens it a bit if you get less than 2 years, about 2 years roughly, or at about 2 years, not less, 2 years. You did bring him out of the dumps the second year. But I don't know if anything has happened monumental in those 2 years that would say that your jerseys should hang in the rafters for eternity. Like, I'm not sure. Like, or it should be up in the stadium, for forever. I don't know.
Like you said, I mean,
Not unless they just don't have nothing else to do. I mean, if they ain't got nobody else, then I get that. You're like, hey, we got to throw somebody up here. So then I get that.
Then they got Wizard White.
But you are in Colorado, so it is kind of much. What else do you have to do?
Hey, man, at that point, I get it.
I mean, you I guess you either ski or you tip buffalo, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're hanging jerseys for those.
No, and they're not gonna, at least unless like they say, pigs fly. I don't see him hanging up a national championship banner there in any time soon either.
Man, goodness, yeah.
Yeah. So guys, I wanted to kind of make this like a raffle tonight, but there's only three of us here, and actually all three of us are rooting for the same team. So, so, but Reggie, I got to ask you, since you weren't here last week, I got to give you a double bill here. First of all, what do you think that your team is going to hit in the draft?
Defense, my friend. Defense. We're primed for defense down here in Atlanta. That's what we want to see. Let's have that first round called and it be an offensive guy. We're gonna go crazy down here. We'll go crazy. So it needs to be. I mean, maybe like a lineman. Maybe we'll live with a lineman. Maybe. But it better not be a skills player. It better not be a tight end. It better not be a wide receiver. It better not be a running back. Any skill player, we're gonna go nuts down here. So it needs to be a defensive player is what we're hoping for.
Well, now you have still, I think, some controversy at the QB position.
I mean, he's still here. So that's the controversy. He's present. You know what I mean?
Penix is undoubtedly your starter. Mm-hmm. But are you going to hang on to the $100 million guy, or or is it more feasible to cut him, considering part of your draft needs?
I mean, selfishly, I would hang on to him. Like, if I'm just being selfish, of course I'm going to hang on to two quarterbacks. I'd rather have two quarterbacks than none. I've seen in this league. I'd rather hang on to him. But it's expensive. And then the way that I'm looking at the $100 million, I'm just looking at the two QBs because of Penix was on the rookie.
He's still on rookie contract, right?
It's for some foreseeable time. And the thing is it's just hard, guys, for me to imagine Kirk just not playing next year. It's just hard for me to imagine it. I don't have any insight that says that's what's going to happen. It's just hard for me to imagine that we start next year and Kirk is sitting on a bench backing up Penix and he's not playing for another team somewhere. It's difficult to imagine.
There are rumors that Kirk can be had for a 6th-round pick. What do you think?
I mean, I think at this point, we'll take anything down here. We were hoping for a little bit higher than that for sure. But I think the fan base is ready to kind of move on, kind of cut and move on more than I would be ready to, because I'd have 3 or 4 quarterbacks sitting back there. If it was me, I'd have like a bullpen of QBs if I could line them up down here. But the fan base is just not realistic. The fan base doesn't really want that. So I think that it would be better probably best for all parties if Kurt does find a home somewhere.
Yeah, I think maybe they might even try to wait until after June 1st if they don't have a good suitor, because then his dead money hit goes down.
Yeah, they're definitely not impatient. I'll tell you that. They're in no rush from what I'm hearing, guys. I don't hear a direction they're going to it, but I do hear the no rush. Like they're not really.
Yeah, and then once training camp starts in the preseason games, invariably you have, sort of like the situation with the Saints. All of a sudden, Derek Carr might not be playing next year.
Yeah, wild.
So
right?
you could lose somebody, in training camp or a preseason game, and then all of a sudden he becomes much more attractive.
Yeah, the David Carr situation has become very sticky. That's one of the reasons why they're almost certain that they won't let the Saints won't let a quarterback pass 9, whether it's Sanders or Dart. But
is Dart jumping that far? Like I thought Sanders was dropping, but I wasn't aware that there's a possibility that Dart has been leapfrogging Sanders. Like, is that what you guys have been hearing? Have you guys been hearing that it's Cam Ward and then Dart?
No. I've been having Cam Ward and then Shador, but like I said, now that he's not invited in, to those 17, where does he fall?
Well, you could have a situation.
There is a quarterback invited, right? Other than Cam Ward.
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know, but you could have a situation where, say, Tennessee drafts Ward, and then if the Giants surprise it, they're saying that they're not interested in a quarterback, but then they invited Shador for a visit, and if they draft Shador, then all of a sudden, who does Atlanta pick? And maybe they do pick Jackson Dart.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Dart is said to be a project, but then so is also Shador. So we'll see. Is that Don I see here? I've been trying to get him. Yeah, that's Don.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him about yours.
Here's
there he is making an appearance.
There he is. All right, now are we still without an echo? Everybody doesn't have without echo, right?
Good. I hear no echo on my side.
Okay. I hear no echo.
All right.
No echo, just me.
All right. How you doing tonight, Don?
I'm doing good. I'm having some issues with my thing here, but
there you go.
You were levitating.
Yeah, man, it's like floating above you, man.
I know. Okay, is that better? There we go.
All right, I think we got you right there. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. All right. So we can go back and cover some territory here. Don, well, first of all, Dave, you said you had some questions to ask Don about yours.
About yours?
Yeah.
Dave said he had something to ask you. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, yeah, I had a question about Quinn Ewers because, his stock seems to have fallen, but then, you read some of the draft reports and they talk about, he does have a great long ball arm. But then there's concerns about, I guess, his touch on the short passing game. I don't know what's going on with yours, and what do you think's going to happen to him in the draft?
Well, he has a great arm, and I think the reverse is true. The short and intermediate, he's fine. It's accuracy, 30 yards plus. Sometimes he's overthrows, sometimes it's short, sometimes he throws at the knees. My only qualms with yours is he's not the kind of guy that's going to huddle and just take control and tell what's up. There's a famous clip on the internet you can figure it up. It's Troy Aikman on the sidelines back during Cowboys heyday, and he is ripping ass. He's right and left, right. I mean, he's throwing all kind of F-bombs and he's like, I'm not having fun. You motherfucker better have fun. So he's getting after it. Joe Montana had that fire. The great ones do. Tom Brady. But yours, he's quiet. He's very laid back. He's not a rah. He's not going to go in there and start. You know, he's not going to take control. He's not going to call out people. And to be a quarterback, a large part of it is just being an asshole. You have to get in their faces, and guy drops the ball and yours, that's okay, you'll find. And then the other quarterbacks like grab my face and, hey, catch the fucking ball. I mean, he just doesn't have that fire that people look for. Now, from what we're hearing in spring training, coming out of practice, is that Arch Manning is the exact opposite. I mean, he's on fire. So that's a draft for 2 years from now. But yeah, I think yours, he'll probably go late second round, maybe early third round. I think he's that kind of quarterback.
Good evening, Good evening, Mr. Scott.
Good evening.
All right.
No sunglasses today. I was waiting to see if we're going to see the sunglasses, but no, don't like we get any sunglasses happening today.
No sunglasses today. but I see everything with my iris, my pupil, everything. Seeing very well. And listening to all the snide remarks, comments.
We haven't got to them yet because I want to talk about your Timberwolves. Last week you were kind of concerned about whether or not they were going to fall, but they made it into the big dance without having to go through the play-in. But are you guys going to be able to keep Anthony Edwards? Seems like he has been collecting a lot of text here lately. What's your prediction here, Mr. Scott?
Well, they're really both my teams. The Lakers used to be here, before they went to LA back in the really olden days. And then I have a cousin with the great state of Atlanta, Fayetteville, Atlanta. He keeps calling me and telling me, Anthony Edwards, he wants to be in, how they talk down in Atlanta. You have to be in the ATL. He wants to come. I said, he's doing fine right here. We're heading toward a championship. He's doing great. Maybe he'll come back.
He is from here. I mean, he has a solid point. I mean, he's bringing up a solid point there.
Well,
he's from Atlanta.
Maybe he'll come when he's on his last legs, to get another contract. But as for right now, things are going just fine, smooth, swimmingly. We're way deeper than the Lakers. I mean, Luka is always a problem. LeBron.
Luka scored like 45 points the other day. Like, how is he a problem? I mean, he can only do so much. He had like 45, 8, and 7, something like that.
LeBron, I'm not that concerned about. We're a deeper team. We have good defense in the middle. It should be a very great series. It really should. It should be a great series. And but I'm predicting that the Wolves come out of this series. I really am. I think that Anthony Edwards is on fire. I mean, I went to the last game at they played Utah in the very last game. I hung out with my good friend Ronnie Boone, who's the announcer for Utah. And you look up Ron Boone, he's the all-time leading scorer in the ABA. And so I talked with Ron, and we were talking about the games, and we just kind of watched the game for a while. But Anthony Edwards he's just making the game look easy. He's making the game look easy, and I think it's going to be a good series. I really do.
Okay. All right.
And I told my cousin he needs to worry about his star, Trae Young, because he's obviously unhappy there, getting kicked out of games. He doesn't want to. He wants to be on a winning team, so he needs to worry about that instead of worrying about Anthony.
We might as well switch him for Anthony Edwards, man. You're talking it up right now. I don't know why you're fighting it. I mean, you just set up the trade just now, didn't you?
They just don't get it. They just don't get it. Yeah.
All right, Don. What do you think about Travis Hunter saying that if he can't play both ways, he might quit football? What do you think about that?
Hey, I love the passion. Whoever drafts him, they're going to let him play both ways. I guarantee it. I guarantee he'll play both ways. Now he might not get the amount of time, amount of plays, but I think he'll be primarily a defensive back, and then in certain situations, third and long, or they might use him as, I guess a decoy, whatever. But he'll get some snaps on offense also. And don't run out special teams. He might be a returner. He's that dynamic an athlete. Any team that drafts him is getting a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1, I guess you'd say it. But I love the fact that he said, well, if I don't go both ways, I'll quit. He's not going to quit. We all know this.
I know we don't, but nobody believes that.
No, nobody believes that. Yeah. But I appreciate the troll on him. I love it.
What do you think, Mr. Scott? Is he going to turn down $34 million guaranteed? If they tell him that he has to play defense?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I mean, he might have a preference. I mean, since he's good at both. But, I guess if it was me, I'd open up the contract talks. Well, you want me to play both ways? Pay me 2 salaries. I mean,
and that'll show him. That'll definitely get you to play both ways.
I think we've had that conversation before.
Well, look what Otani's getting. What the 700 million, and it's 700 million, and it's deferred until he's 50 years old.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, so hey, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think it's out of the realm of possibility for football. Maybe not, like you said. I don't know. I can't,
Well, he even have to wait until after his rookie contract's over.
Yeah.
So those are structured.
Yeah. So anyway, Mr. Scott, what do you think about Shedeur not being invited to the big dance with the other 17 guys? Does that mean his stock has went down or what?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it sounds, it looks like that there is some suspects. If he can come in and be a leader, come in right away, come in and, depends on who drafts him. A team that already has a quarterback, maybe that's a little up there, and bring him along. Or if they want him to be the starter. But I think by this invite thing, I think it shows that he's kind of there. He's kind of suspect. And I think a lot of it is his elephant in the room, his dad. I mean, do they want to deal with that too? It sounds like that would be a big issue with whoever gets him. So, I mean, that almost says maybe the Cowboys would be a good spot, but I don't know what to think of Shedeur. I know we don't need him, but maybe Pittsburgh can run a deal. They need somebody. They're not doing anything. That would be a good move for somebody like them. They don't have anything.
I mean, who do Vikings have? Like, is that McCarthy? You talking about JJ McCarthy? Is that when you say we got somebody? Is that who you mean? Are you referring to JJ McCarthy? I need to put that on the record. That's somebody that you're referring to when he says we got somebody. I just know that McCarthy is that somebody.
They don't have anybody else. They don't have a backup.
So it is JJ McCarthy when he says we got. Oh, don't worry about it. We got JJ. Okay.
Number 1 pick. Top 10 pick. He's coming off an injury. We'll make a move. We'll. I mean, we've picked up. We've changed the line, the defense. Everything is in place. So we just have to get into camp. We have to see how things are going. I know people get so giddy. They're so giddy about what's going to happen. But
I mean, it's that time of the year to get giddy. I mean, because it's a pretty good question. Like, what is going to happen? Is a solid question, I think.
I pulled up the list of the 17 players attending the NFL draft, and Travis Hunter is going to be there.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is definitely. Travis Hunter.
Is there any other quarterbacks on that list, Dave? Because the real insult has to be another quarterback.
Cam Ward is there.
Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, and Jackson Dart.
Yo, Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart got invites before Shedeur did. is there really any universe that we believe that Jalen and these guys gonna be drafted before Shador? Like, is that a possibility? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe, they're gonna be they're gonna be there, and Shador, you're not invited. We're not even calling you out.
At least one of them is probably going to be sitting there after the night is over, unpicked.
You better hope they all get drafted before Shador. This is gonna look silly. It's gonna look silly. Like, if they don't all get drafted before Shador, why did you do that? Like, it's gonna look petty.
Well, the worst is if you don't get picked at all that Thursday night.
Right. Like, what if that happens where Shador gets picked, he's not even invited, and one of the guys you invited doesn't even get picked that day? Like, my God. Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I can't understand how Jackson Dart is that. I mean, he's good, but I don't know. He's not better than Shador Sanders.
Well,
I would think.
He's one of the 17, sure. and
let's talk about Milroe. Which Milroe are they going to see? Are they going to see the one that shit himself against the worst OU team in 20 years, or are we going to see the Milroe that pulled the upset on Georgia? So I mean,
I'm an Alabama fan, and I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't understand that myself. I don't understand that. Like, I don't think Milroe's a better quarterback than Shador. I mean, not from anything that has been shown. So I'm not sure what we're seeing here.
And Milroe was on his way to UT. I don't know if you knew that, but
wow.
When Arch Manning committed his junior in high school, he said, "No, I'm going to go to Alabama."
Yeah, you know what time it is. Absolutely.
Don, Jerry's guys. Don, who are they going to pick, or do you think that instead of picking at 12, that the Cowboys might move up to number 8 or somewhere around in there to pick up another Michael?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. So you know how for years I keep saying, whatever the Cowboys need, Jerry will always go to find will draft a wide receiver. The rumor is he wants Golden out of Texas, who's a damn good receiver. He's not. He's maybe a step below Xavier Worthy from last year. But yeah, I've been hearing from draft that they're going to get a receiver. And it's going to be Golden.
Is Steven going to talk him down off that? He's going to wait for the Sun to talk him down again and maybe get some sense in there?
They need some help in the backside of the secondary, and I still think they need a linebacker.
Yeah, you haven't signed Micah yet, so
right.
You might, but I mean, the only right now the CeeDee Lamb is your lone wide receiver, right? No, you just hired. Didn't you just pick up somebody?
It's a tip of my tongue. I can't remember who they have, but he likes having 3 go-to guys, and so that might be who he got. But I think he's going to do something stupid and take a receiver in the first round.
All right,
man.
Dave. Who are we taking in the first round at pick number 21?
I had to submit a mock draft to Steelers Depot last night. So I ran about 20 mock drafts, and like 15 out of the 20, I ended up with Kenneth Grant, a defensive lineman from Michigan. And the other times that he wasn't available, there was Derek Harmon. But I'm going to say that they go with Kenneth Grant. They really need to bolster their defensive line, and but the Steelers have a lot of needs. They have so many different needs, and just out of what I found interesting is out of their 30 pro visits that they had, they were allowed to bring in 30 players for visits to Pittsburgh. 9 were running backs. So over 1/4 of their visits to Pittsburgh involved running backs. So I think They don't have a second round pick because that was used to get DK Metcalf.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm
That was
thinking
a
their
waste.
third round pick is going to be running back, and I went with Dylan Sampson. But then they also need a quarterback because without Aaron Rodgers signed, this has to impact them. If he's not signed by the time there's the draft, I think that's going to put even more pressure on Pittsburgh to draft a quarterback. And I had Quinn Ewers in the fourth
Wow.
round, and that's why I was asking Don, his evaluation of Ewers. But I mean, what could happen is if they're afraid that Rodgers, if they really are not sure whether he's going to sign, maybe they do use that 21 pick on a quarterback. But I really hope not, because they have too many holes on their roster.
There's supposed to be some good backs, though, isn't it? Didn't I hear that there's a fairly deep running back core? So.
Yeah. Dylan Sampson, I think, is like the 7th or 8th ranked running back. You have Amarian Hampton. You got Judkins out of Ohio. You got 2 Ohio State running backs that maybe one will go in the first and the second round. You got Ashton Genty that just sent a bold tweet or a bold message. Let me pull this up.
He might be top 10er guys for Gentry.
Genty will be the first back off the board, and he'll probably be somewhere within the top 10.
Here's Ashton Genty's message to NFL teams. I've taken the long way. I'm done with that way. If you pick me, it's simple. I'm coming to your franchise to do what Saquon and the Eagles just did. I'm coming to win big soon. It's tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I draft a guy they can't tackle. Thank you for your time, Ashton Genty. That's
they can't tackle you, buddy, when you get out here. Putting that target on your back right before you even step your foot out here.
You're a rookie. You already got a target on your back.
But before you read that, and I was about to say, Gentry is, I think, going to be a steal. I think he is very similar to Saquon Barkley. He got that same style. He's, he slices, dices, goes vertical, goes horizontal. Whoever gets him is going to get a good running back.
We shall definitely see. Mr. Scott, who do you think your Vikings will draft next Thursday?
Boy, it's wide open because they've made so many good moves in the offseason to shore up the defense, the offensive line. They got rid of their starting center. I can't remember where he went, to maybe the Jets or New York, and they signed someone. So this quarterback thing is the one that's really this has got to be worked out, because
there we go. Yes,
they put all the pieces around. They put all the pieces around, and if he's not healthy, and they really don't have anybody else on the roster, which is almost kind of Pittsburgh-ish like.
No, I was gonna say, it is strange. It is absolutely strange. Carrying one quarterback is absolutely strange to me for these teams.
It doesn't add up. I mean, and then the Rodgers thing. I mean, there's still some scuttlebutt about that, and that he's actually approached the Vikings and said, "Let's do this."
I'm going to ask you about that later, Mr. Scott. Don't get into that yet.
Okay. Well, then I really don't know. They've been, and Kawasi hasn't been that great with his draft choices either. I mean, he's had a lot of draft choices that have bombed out, and it's only the free agents that have done well.
I like your boy Addison. Addison's pretty good, right? Addison's good. I like Addison.
He's a good receiver, of course, but I mean, I can't remember that defensive back that they had, number 1 pick, Lewis Signs. He totally washed out. A couple of other defenders. There was a defensive end from Alabama who I thought was really great. I can't call. He's still on the team, but he didn't really produce much as a rookie. So, we'll see. But other than that, the quarterback is it's the elephant in the room. And that's I'm actually going to go to some of the practices as soon as they start that. I really want to see what this guy looks like. Because at
Is
Michigan,
McCarthy healthy? Is he playing? Was he ready to start?
he's supposed to be healthy. I mean,
He says he
Gotta
is.
ride with him. If he's healthy, you gotta. Then there's your answer right there.
well, you
He's
got
gonna
to
be out
have a
there.
backup, like you say.
Yeah,
You
they'll get a
can't just-
backup for
you
sure.
can't just,
For
you
sure.
know, I mean, and so yeah, I'm planning to go to see is he really healthy? Is he really and he really, even though he was a top pick and Michigan was a number one team, he really didn't have to do that much with them. I mean, that team was so loaded. He basically just had to manage the game. So
Well, with Jefferson and a good running back, does he have to do more than that in Minnesota?
and Addison and the tight end, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, so does he have to be more than the game manager in Minnesota?
well,
You
that's
had
pro game.
Kirk Cousins
Not
there,
college.
so I
This
mean,
is not college. This is pro game. So
you had Kirk Cousins; he was a game manager.
yeah, well, where did that go? I mean, the man from Atlanta can talk about that. I mean, Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk is still not that terrible. You know what I mean?
And they're even
He's
talking
still out
about
there.
maybe bringing him back. They're talking about maybe letting Atlanta pay him.
I mean, I know why you would bring him back because you don't have anything there right now. Like you're just hoping. Like McCarthy, I think that if he's healthy, you got to run him out there. I think you have to. Like if he's healthy, you're gonna waste another year trying to see what you got with the guy. You got to see what you got. Like if you're gonna run him out there next year and possibly go through this again. Like
yeah, I mean, he's on the rookie contract. You know, this is the second. I mean, but yeah, you got to have a plan B on this thing, and that's what we're waiting on. You know, I don't want ayahuasca. I really want him to go to Pittsburgh because I want to see what I want to see what the scuttlebutt will be about that. I want to see how that's going to be spun by Pittsburgh.
No,
Well, you know,
I got some questions for that, but let's go out to Reggie here. Reggie, the Falcons, you guys hired a new DL coach, Nate Ollie, to spark your pass rush revival. But you also got, isn't this your contract year for Kyle Pitts?
Yes.
So,
Off discussed Kyle Pitts down here.
what's going on with the new hire and the pieces that you're hoping to pick up in the draft, as well as those you brought back?
Well, with Kyle,
Kyle
we're
Pitts
hoping.
coming back.
But the Kyle situation has been often discussed only because of kind of like his lack of production and kind of like feeling like there's still something there though. Like we're not ready to just like let the guy go. But we don't necessarily want to pay the guy at the same time, you know. So it's big prove it year in my opinion for Kyle. As far as the new coach that we hired, I mean, unless he's going to go out there and rush the quarterback himself, I'm rarely concerned about a coach before I see what the player is going to be. Like we've lacked at this. We've always had a defensive line coach. We haven't had great players coming off the edge. So we need to get a good player or two here and there before I'm going to really be excited about or call it a pass rush revival just because we hired a coach. I need to see who we're going to actually put out here.
Okay. Mr. Scott, what's going on with your GM? You just mentioned, some of the misses that he's had. Are you guys going to give him a extension after the draft? And are the Vikings wise to pass on ayahuasca?
Yes, I think they are wise to pass on it. I mean, I think that's kind of like a desperation thing, if it has to go that way. I mean, if they've gone all this long with McCarthy and they're waiting for, they think it's going to work, they're letting him heal, and so yeah, that's that would be a panic move to me. That's why I'm hoping he goes to Pittsburgh. I mean, I think that's the best move for him, best move for that team. What I mean, that's just too much up in the air. I mean, I tell you, I'm almost speechless about it because I'm trying to be a fan of Kuisi, but his drafting has not been superlative, but his acquiring of free agents has been awesome. I mean, how do you get Hawkinson from the Lions? I mean, I don't understand how stuff like that works, but he's able to pull off those kind of things. So
You think the acquisition of the running back is going to help his case
well, he made a trade for the
to get
backup.
the kid from San Francisco, right? Mason, was
Yeah,
it Mason?
yeah, I think that yes. But I mean, Aaron's going to be the guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to be the guy. And when you look at the receivers, we've improved the line. I mean, it's just who's going to pull the trigger. This is it, because I think that we can win this division. I mean, I'm going that far now. And the draft is a big mystery for the Vikings.
All right, okay.
And then I've
Uh,
heard the man from Atlanta. What about Michael Penix? I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, is this a lock
The
deal?
season has not started yet. We're in the off season. You probably will hear more about him during the season when it starts.
but no, but you were talking about their backup. Do you have somebody in mind if you do let Kirk Cousins go?
No. I mean, we're in the Michael Penix boat, man. This is it. They're like Mr. Scott knows that they're in the same boat. We are just like they're in the McCarthy boat. We're in the Penix boat. These kids are driving the ships, man. These kids are driving the bus right now. So all we can do is ride in it, man. That's all we can do.
Don, Parsons reports to the voluntary mini camps, but he still doesn't have a deal. Are Jerry's guys the best landing spot for cornerback Jalen Ramsey? What's going on down there in Dallas? Besides Jerry's tantrums or whatever, Don. But what's going on with the team?
Well, I think the fact that Parsons showed up, I think that's a good sign. I think,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, we all know that he'll be playing, next year. I mean, they'll work out. He is the best player on the team, any side of the ball. So let's just get that way. What was the other question you had about who?
Jalen Ramsey. It's rumored that the Dolphins are going to be getting rid of Jalen Ramsey. Do you think the Cowboys would be the best landing spot for a veteran cornerback? Give him a little depth, maybe.
Well,
Like
I mentioned that we do need some help in the backfield. Is he the answer? I don't know, but I'll take him. I'll take him. I mean, it's not the. I mean, there's probably some better ones out there, but I think that getting Parsons would be number one, and then getting help there would be number two. So if that's their solution, then trust me, Jerry Jones will make a dumber decision than sign Jalen Ramsey. That's not even on the radar.
That's hilarious.
All right, Dave, here we come. Ayahuasca's proposal to the Vikings shows, as I've been saying all along, that he would rather be a backup for the Vikings than a starter for the Steelers. Dave, are the
I haven't heard
Steelers?
that. Where did that come from? I haven't heard that.
It's a blasphemous statement, by the way. We don't even
I'll
need to
answer
talk
it.
about it.
Go
It's
ahead,
so
go ahead,
blasphemous.
James. I have an answer for
heard
that.
that.
But go ahead, James.
Okay, and are the
I was
Steelers
about to drop a flag on that. I haven't heard that.
are the Steelers too predictable in today's NFL, Dave?
All right. So on the Aaron Rodgers thing, the story that came out was that basically he offered to Minnesota to play this year, do a 1-year contract to start, and that he would mentor JJ McCarthy. And so that was putting Minnesota in the situation that if they were to sign Aaron Rodgers, well, then they would delay getting JJ McCarthy on the field for another year, because the thinking is the people that can read Aaron Rodgers' mind they're saying that he wants to play for a Super Bowl contending team, and Minnesota has a much better roster than Pittsburgh does, and that even he may part of the reason he may not be signing with Pittsburgh is he may choose retirement if he doesn't feel that they have a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. Which
No, hold on right there, Dave. Here's a guy that has proposed to Minnesota and is thinking about taking retirement before coming to Steelers, and you still want this guy?
well, this isn't Aaron Rodgers saying it. These are mind readers that are interpreting his actions, and this is what the pundits are saying. Now, I haven't heard this from Aaron Rodgers' mouth, and I guess actions will speak louder than words. If he signs, well, okay, then he signs. If he doesn't sign, well, then maybe these people that are attributing this to him, maybe they're right. So in this case, it's like, okay, well, what does he ultimately decide to do? The problem that it presents to Pittsburgh is how is that going to impact them in the draft? Because they only have 6 draft picks. And, because of the second round pick went to get acquired DK Metcalf. And the difficulty is if you don't have Aaron Rodgers signed, well, to me, that puts pressure on the team to draft a quarterback higher in the draft than they otherwise would. But they may want to draft a quarterback, take a flyer in the 4th or 5th round on somebody. But if they don't have Rodgers signed and they only have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson on the roster, well, now the pressure is, well, hey, if Shador Sanders is falling in the draft, maybe we have to pick him up. Where if they already had Rodgers signed on the contract, maybe their thinking is different, and that they draft a quarterback lower down in the 3rd or 4th round. So that's really putting pressure on the, I think, on the team. They'll never admit that, but I don't see how you can't think that way. Because if he has not signed, well, there's no guarantee that he will sign. So you almost have to plan as if he might not be on the roster come training camp.
So
are we satisfied going in the training camp with Mason Rudolph as our starting quarterback?
Oh, yikes!
So do we have to? So in other words, Dave, what you're telling us is that we have to sign Aaron Rodgers within the next 6 days.
It's about 7 days, right? About a week, right?
Next Thursday.
The thing is it's not up to the Steelers. They're not the ones that are signing the contract.
So he has to make the decision in 7 days.
Aaron Rodgers has the power. He's the one. If he could decide now, hey, I'm signing. I'm done with this. Let's sign it. Let's get it over with. So it's not right now. It's not within Pittsburgh's power. I mean, I guess what they could do is they could say, well, hey, let's sweeten it. We'll give you more money if you sign sooner. I guess they could do that. But I mean, he's made how many hundreds of millions of dollars already?
Why would they sign DK Metcalf?
If anybody
Dropper Pickens, and they don't have anyone to throw the ball to these guys.
If anybody on the program has watched Yellowstone, why can't we give him a train ticket?
That is hilarious.
Reggie, what do you think here, Reggie? I mean, to me,
I think it's a depressing situation. I've made these thoughts known over and over and over again. I've been very consistent about this.
If you don't want to be here, why are we, keep trying to, I mean, it's like that girlfriend that don't want to be with you, but
Well, it's just the
you keep
relationship
buying
starting
her
off like
gifts.
this. Like we haven't even started the relationship yet. We haven't even started dating. We haven't even held hands yet. And this is how things are starting. Like, so, and you're like, I got to give you more money just to come talk to me. Like, that's crazy. It just seems like it's crazy given what it is. Because even if we were to capitulate to every demand and decide, okay, we're going to acquiesce to this, acquiesce to that, we're going to do everything. The guy can play for another year or two. Like, it's not like we got a guy that we're negotiating a 10-year deal with. We're going to bend over backwards and hope that we can get 17 games out the guy. So it's like
1 year rental.
it's crazy.
It's really
to
a
me
1 year
to
rental,
be doing
and
all this for that
and
amount of
Pittsburgh
production.
created this themselves whenever they weren't sure who they were going to go with, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields last year. So they signed them both to 1 year deals, thinking, "Hey, we'll have one or the other next year."
Yeah.
Well, in free agency, this is when free agency puts the power with the players. The teams can't control who a free agent signs with. The only thing they can do is offer them incentives to sign, more money, more guarantees or whatever. So whenever they sign both of those quarterbacks to 1 year contracts, they kind of set themselves up. They got the worst case scenario. And if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers, well, then who do they go with? Mason Rudolph, I guess. I mean, who else is out there?
But you two are, the two tag teams of Tomlin tag team partners. You're not saying, do you actually want it? Do you want it? Because
I made it perfectly clear that I do not want Aaron Rodgers. I've made it perfectly clear.
I mean, I would probably endure it if he had more left in the tank. I don't think it's worth enduring the amount of heartache and jumping through hoops for 17 games. I don't think that's changing the fortunes of the Steeler history in these 17 games to deal with all this, to be honest.
All Pittsburgh is trying to do is they're trying to get the most competitive roster they can for 2025.
Which he would be. If he signs on the team, he would definitely be the most competitive guy.
They're investing all their stuff into the 2026 draft. They have all they should get 3 or 4 compensatory drafts, and it looks like they're stocking up for the 2026 draft. But at the same time, because of their team philosophy to remain competitive, they're trying to build the strongest roster that they can. And so their decision making is, are we stronger with Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, or are we better off just going with Mason Rudolph? And I think so far, because they've kept the line open, they feel that they're more competitive with Aaron Rodgers. And it doesn't matter what the fans think. They don't run the team by pulling the fans. They just don't do it that way. So that's the Rodgers situation. Now, on the too predictable, that was an interesting question because Danny Heifetz from The Ringer, he was covering the Ravens in the wild card game whenever the Ravens, it was, I think, what was it, 28-14, but it wasn't that close, the game. And he reported that he was in the Ravens locker room after the game, and the Ravens were mocking the Steelers' schemes. And he said that they weren't telling this to the reporters, but they could overhear them talking among themselves, kind of mocking the Steelers' scheme. Now he didn't go into any details whether it was the offense,
I was love to see if it's offensive or defense or what it was. I want to get on Arthur Smith if I can. I didn't get the opportunity just now, but I was definitely.
Yeah, but then Baltimore, they had one drive. I think they ran the ball like 20 straight times. They just muscled the team. Now, if Pittsburgh had somehow won that game, they would not be mocking their scheme. But they won easily, and quite frankly, they ran over. The score was not as close as it would seem. So, is it too predictable? Maybe. On offense, they kind of had a limited scheme for Justin Fields because they were trying to protect the ball, prevent turnovers. And then once Russell Wilson came in, there's been repeated reporting that he wasn't allowed to call his own plays on in the 2-minute offense, which is I've never heard of such a thing. You know, when you're in your 2-minute offense, you usually go into a no huddle and the quarterback is calling the play. So I don't understand that. And if that's Arthur Smith, that's a big black mark. You got to let the quarterback run that offense. If that's
Russ
true.
got out of here, if that's true as well, that would add some fuel to why he's not here.
Yeah, but the reality that
Could be.
Pittsburgh gets refused to talk about is that they haven't done anything since Big Ben. They really haven't done anything to fix that. And then you're talking about you're going to plan for 2026. Well, you know, quite as it is kept lovers of, kiss the ring people, Tomlin might not be there.
Well,
This is a disaster.
Well, that's true. He'll play out his contract, but you know, it's not that they did. A lot of people say, well, they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan. They had a plan. It just didn't work.
Yeah, the Kenny.
Their plan was Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Was Kenny Pickett a legit plan, Dave? Like when Kenny Pickett got drafted, I never got the personal feeling, and you were a lot more close to this, so you could let me know. I never got the personal feeling, at least from a fan standpoint, that he was going to be the heir apparent. I never had any conviction of this. Did Pittsburgh have any real conviction of that? Or was it like the kid's already in the building? We're just going to give this a run. We like the kid.
You got to remember the Pitt Panthers locker room is literally 30 feet from the Steelers locker room.
Right. I think that helped them
They share the same facilities. They see themselves. They don't practice together, but they see themselves all the time. And so with the Pitt players, Pittsburgh sees the ball.
Able to practice with the Steelers. That was, not formally, but he was able to talk to the.
Maybe they got a little try before they buy, and maybe kind of fell in love with that.
And so all the indication that you need is that they drafted him in the first round.
Yeah, well,
if they didn't feel that he wasn't the guy, they would not have drafted him in the first round.
Yeah.
And they did, and they were very familiar with him, and so I think that the evaluation on him really failed. And what's telling, that was Kevin Colbert's last year as a general manager, and Pittsburgh has been very known for having very low turnover among their staff, not only with players, not only with coaches, but the scouting department, the whole thing, very, very low turnover. Yeah. Well, after that draft, there's been a pretty large turnover in the scouting department.
And that's why I asked you, had we become too predictable, because we do keep the same people on time after time after time. To Mr. Scott's point, like I said many times, if you can tell me who is going to replace Tomlin, then I have no problem with it. But right now, I think he hasn't had a losing season, so why would you fire a coach?
Well, the other factor that's happening here is, and it wasn't just the quarterback situation. They had to replace their center, and again, this was under Kevin Colbert. What they did is they drafted a guard and tried to convert him to a center.
To convert him,
and they whiffed. They drafted another guard, and he was a right guard, but they played him at left guard. He failed. He went to the Rams. They switched him back, and the guy's excelling. Kevin Dotson.
Yeah.
And so each of those draft picks have set him back, because then they had to draft another center, and they had to draft another tackle. And then with Broderick Jones, I just saw a film study that Alex Kozora did, and I mean, the guy was unclear of what the snap count was. You could see it on the film.
Yeah.
And like Pat Fryermuth turning to him saying, "Hey, it was on 2." and then him firing out as if it's a running play when it was a passing play with the pass rusher going right by him, and he was a first round pick and a very talented guy. He has like all the talent. He has like all the physical attributes.
Yeah,
but he didn't start that many games. He was where was he from? Alabama or Georgia? I'm trying to think. Broderick Jones.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't get a lot of snaps, but
yeah. So now they had to draft another tackle, Troy Fautana, who then got hurt. Well, all of those misevaluations on Kenny Pickett and on the other linemen that I mentioned, and then the lack of development from the most recent guys. Well, that's really set the franchise back, and now they have a lot of holes. James was asking, what needs of the Steelers need to address? Well, defensive line, running back, quarterback, inside linebacker, into an interior lineman for Sayamalu, who might be on his last season or two, offensive tackle because of the underperformance of Broderick Jones and the injury to Troy Fowler, and then wide receiver. They're still not full of wide receiver.
And that's another thing about drafting ayahuasca. With the line that we have, how the hell are we going to keep him upright? But
it's a developing line. That's a legit concern. That's why, and Mike Tomlin himself said he preferred a more mobile quarterback.
Yeah. All right. So Don, you've been just sitting there. Any thoughts on these last couple of questions here? The Vikings, the Steelers, or Jerry Jones?
Well, Jerry Jones, we could be here all night. Just
I was gonna say we could just restart this show over and just talk about Jerry by itself.
We could do a podcast just on dumb shit Jerry Jones does. I'm hoping the Vikings have a great draft. Minnesota's one of those teams I want to cheer for, and it's hard to because they always seem to like fall through at the end and let you down. I've always hated Pittsburgh because they always kept my Oilers from the Super Bowl back in the 70s. But because of James and David, I'm kind of a Steelers fan, and of course I have a little connection to Mason Rudolph, so I hope he does well. So I'm just having fun listening to the banter, and I think the team that I really want to see do well, and I'm not sure it's going to happen in San Francisco.
Man, a lot of question marks there.
A lot of question marks. They need to. I know McCaffrey's back, but he's not going to be the same. I don't think he's missed too much, and they need to get some depth there, and they need receivers also. So we'll see.
Yeah, they've lost their wide receivers too. But Reg, I know we've kept you a little longer than usual, so why don't you give us any final thoughts you have for the evening, my man?
My final thoughts is I was very glad that the great Jim Brown here could join me here for this show, and he will probably make another appearance here at some point. But I'm glad that he was able to make an appearance here for this show. I feel like I was able to give stronger takes. Yeah, absolutely. And this is signed too. This says Hall of Fame 71, guys. It says Hall of Fame 71. Yeah, absolutely. So he will make more appearances on further show. I got Kareem upstairs, so it might be the captain next. It might be the captain. I might switch him out for the captain next week, but we'll see.
All right. Well, hey, glad you could stick around with us, Reg. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, it wasn't as much Tomlin hate today, so I felt good sticking around. I didn't hear not nearly as much Tomlin. Like it was Tomlin hate immediately last time. I'm not sure what happened, but this time was way better. So I appreciate it.
What are these veiled hits? I mean, these veiled.
I'm just saying, it was a lot of Tomlin discussion last time, and I felt like we were getting off track, and you were just all over the guy, and I'm like, what did I even stick around for? I'm just happy today. It was just great. This was a great show today, guys. Great show.
Have a good one, Reggie.
All right, see you next time.
All right. Mr. Scott, a lot of discussions about your teams. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Twins. You want to do anything about them before you do your final thoughts?
Well, there's really not much to say about them. They did pull out a game today, and uh, yeah, it's a very slow start for the Twins. But the hopeful piece is, well, and then Korea got hurt again the other day, so he's out. He's their highest paid player, so he's really getting kind of injury prone. And on the other side of that, though, Buxton seems to be healthy and seems to be out there every day, so that's a good thing. They claim they had one of the best bullpens in the league, but I haven't seen it. And I think it's hard to have good pitching in the bullpen when you don't get any hitting. If you're not getting any hitting, I mean, it's hard to get anything done. So I don't expect a whole lot from the Twins this year. They got rid of, like Carlos Santana, they had him at first base last year. He was Gold Glove, everyday first baseman, and they wouldn't sign him, so he just goes back to Cleveland. He just goes back where he came from, stepped right in the lineup. They could have had him for little or nothing. So, and then the team's up for sale. So that's and the weather's been terrible at the beginning of the year. So I think they had like 10,000 people the other day, and that's kind of like, boy, that's not good. It's not good. So well, hopefully the weather warms up, and then maybe they'll the pat. And maybe I should loan them my tornado bat. My tornado bat came. I got the tornado bat, and but my good friend called me and he says, "Well, it's not the bat; it's hand-eye coordination."
You're not hitting dingers?
What?
You're not hitting dingers?
Well, I'm going to try to take it to the cage, me and my brother, and see how it works.
Okay, all right. Dave.
Yes.
Any thing you want to talk about the Pirates? I mean, is the team on the block officially? What's up with the young pitcher? And what any final thoughts you got there, Dave?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Pirates did win tonight. They're playing the Nationals, who aren't too good, but they won 6-1. Had a grand slam home run late in the game. But it looks like a long.
Weren't they kind of going through the same things that Mr. Scott was talking about?
Well, I mean, they don't have relief pitching, and they don't have hitting, and they got Scanes. Now they had another pitcher that threw 7 innings of shutout ball, which is encouraging. But the owner, he just doesn't want to invest in the team, which is very, very frustrating. But we'll see. They've won a couple games. Hopefully they can climb toward 500. But man, it's going to be a long season, and I'm planning on going to a game in July. For my final thoughts, I quit golfing about 5 years ago. And then 2 years ago, 2 of my sons, Marcus and Nick, they started golfing. And they really caught the bug. They're going to the range, they're playing, and Marcus has been hitting in the high 80s, low 90s, and Nick is hitting in the high 90s. But what's happened is they go out with their buddies, and sometimes they need a fourth. And so I got back into golf after not golfing for a few years. And it's been really nice to spend a round with my sons, back hacking again. They can laugh at me, but it's just nice to be able to spend time. So, I would encourage everybody, learn a sport that you can play for life. It doesn't have to be golf, but tennis or something, a racket sport, because you never know when your kids or somebody else wants to share some time with you. And it's a nice time. We don't have to get into politics. We don't have to get into, family issues or anything like that. We're just out enjoying a game. And it's, I really appreciate the fact that they make that time for me. So it's nice.
Yeah, always good to spend some family time. Don, Rangers, Astros, UT, whatever you want. Give us your final thoughts.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Spurs.
Okay.
So Spurs they're terrible this year. Crazy things going on. So in May, we're electing a new mayor in San Antonio. And one of the issues coming up is a new arena for the Spurs. Now, the arena we have, state of the art, is better than probably a lot of arenas in the NBA. But when they built it, I guess 20 something years ago, they built it in the absolutely worst side of town. There's been some shootings, drug dealing, prostitutes, and so they decided, yeah, we need a new building. What the politicians aren't saying is that we fucked up and put it in the wrong side of town. They're saying, well, we just need the Spurs, they deserve a new arena. Well, the last 5 years they haven't deserved a new arena, but that's beside the point. So we got this election coming up, and each candidate's been asked, what about the Spurs new arena? And they did a little word salad. They just kind of go around and around and around without actually saying anything. And so it's going to be interesting in May because the mayor doesn't make the decision. It has to be a city council, and I'm sure they'll put it to the city as a proposition vote. But if you elect the mayor that says, yeah, we're going to build a new one, that'll be like the bellwether to see whether or not it gets built or not. So you kind of judge you can gauge what the public response will be to a referendum based on who they vote for mayor. So I'm not running for mayor, by the way. If I did, one of my opponents would be a communist lesbian. The other one would be he's a conspiracy theorist. Let's just put it that way. And the other one makes perfect sense, and so he won't get elected, not in San Antonio anyway. But,
well, you'd win in a landslide then.
Maybe. We'll see. So that's my final thought. So I'll keep you posted where the Spurs will be playing in a couple of years.
Anything about Pop? I thought that when the Spurs played their final game, he might, that might be the time. But
my gut feeling is that he's coached his last game. I think behind the scenes, you got some people, pulling those Biden cues. Hey, maybe it's time to step aside. You can come over here. And so I don't know. Pop's a legend. He's been great for the Spurs. But sometimes you just got to say it's time to go. Turn over someone new. So, by the way, so I should add this. The thing about building the arena in a place called New Braunfels, Texas, which would have to get okay but New Braunfels is between San Antonio and Austin. So they're trying, and that place is growing the I-35 corridor. So the Spurs may not have, or the city of San Antonio might not have a say in where that arena goes. They'll have to fit some of the bill. But I don't know. It wouldn't be the San Antonio Spurs. It'd be the New Braunfels Spurs, but they're not called the New Braunfels Spurs. So anyway.
Do you live in San Antonio, Don?
I do. I live on the southeast side, out in the country, and I enjoy it.
I was born at the Santa Rosa Hospital.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, that's downtown.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 Santa Rosas. I think when you were born, it was probably downtown.
1957. They probably didn't have 3 back then.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, Don, Tim Duncan, maybe just some names to throw out there.
The coach? No. Tim Duncan. So Tim Duncan he's a next door neighbor to my cousin Jack Hayes in Fredericksburg, and they both have ranches out there. And Tim Duncan is the next ranch over, and he's got his garage with all his classic cars. That dude's enjoying life. He got rid of that crazy bitch ex-wife of his, and so he's enjoying life in New Braunfels. I'm sorry, in Fredericksburg, and I don't see him coaching. He shows up to some games, and he'll sign
I
autographs.
thought he was an assistant. Wasn't he an assistant coach?
He was, but I don't think that worked out too well.
First, are we going to see the first woman head coach? Maybe, Don.
Well, if we elect a communist lesbian mayor, maybe. You never know. It could happen. It could happen.
All right, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I'll talk to everybody next Wednesday. Make sure that first of all, it's still cold out there in some places, so be careful in your travels. And we hope to see everybody here with smiling faces next Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
and NFL draft next week.
Yes, we will. That's going to be our big draft show. I have a gentleman that is coming in from to cover the Denver Broncos. You guys might remember him, Craig Hawk. He was here before. I've had him on a couple times, but he'll be following the Denver Broncos and seeing what's going on, what weapons they get for Bo Nix, so forth and so on. So looking forward to having a great show next week. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you then.
You have a blessed Easter.
Yep, same to everyone else. Yep.